Start streaming. Oh, that's stop streaming, sorry. Yeah. Start recording, is it?
No, just start streaming.
It says start recording, sorry.
You don't need to record it, so you can stop recording.
Yeah, so when I clicked on start streaming, it suddenly changed to stop streaming.
Okay, yeah, that's working fine. So I've just checked it on the website and it's working fine. So all you'll need to do is put on your screen on. So that will be just add you.
Okay, hang on then. So, how do I get to me desktop?
If you just minimize that,
Where's the minimize on it?
it's underneath the check. If you click that minimize, I just stop presenting, so it's been blocking just at the top.
All right.
No,
So I wonder where it had gone. Okay. So here's my presentation. Now, what did Pip that's gone before? That this slide here, telling people about questions. I mean, I've kind of like put that one up first, so when they come on at 11 o'clock, they see that slide. And then I was going to go into the second slide and talk about, any questions. I won't be able to answer them, but my colleagues are on hand, for any live chat questions. Yeah, okay, yeah. So he put it as his second slide, yeah. Yeah. So basically, I'm good to go now, hadn't I? I mean, I'm, start slideshow. Curtis, if I wanted to start my slideshow so I can see what the next slide that's coming up with, because at the moment when I go to my presenter mode, I just go screen by screen, and I mean, is there? No, don't worry. I'll just go from here. That's fine. I know the running format roughly anyway, so it's not an issue. So I'm starting my slide slow. Yeah. All right. Okay. So if I escape, so what I'll need to do is I'll have this set up ready to go. So I'll have it like, oh yeah, okay, maybe not because it hides my. So yeah, so basically I'll have it just left. I'll leave it like this for now. So we're good to go. So if I just go to my OBS. Obviously, I've got stop streaming, so I'll have to hit start streaming.
Yeah. Once you click start streaming, and then go into your presentation.
So I'll start streaming, minimize that, and then I can quickly go and do that.
Yeah, and whatever's on your monitor, that's what will come up on the website.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah, as soon as I start streaming, people will see that to start with, won't they? Until I quickly go to start slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just minimize that. Yeah, I'm streaming.
Yes, I can see that now.
Yeah. Okay. Curtis.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second. I was getting feedback from the live stream on the YouTube as well as you. But yeah, that's all set up and ready to go now, Sean.
Okay. So literally, what 11 o'clock? Shall I start talking or yeah?
Yeah, it's at 11 you start talking, just introducing.
Yeah.
And then I'll be in the background. And once if there's any problems, I'll just drop you a little message on Teams. Or actually, no, I'll do it by text because I've got the
Yeah, just text me on my phone if there's any issues or anything. Good stuff. Okay, thanks, Curtis. Bye. Hello, everybody. Good morning to you all, and thank you for visiting the Abloy virtual exhibition stand today, and for attending this presentation I'm about to give on innovative CLIQ solutions for medicine management. Just before I start and get into the presentation, just quickly, whilst I run through this presentation, I won't be able to be answering any questions personally myself as I run through the presentation, but please feel free to fire your questions into the live chat function you see there on the screen on the right, and my colleagues will be on hand to answer any questions that you may have. So yeah, we'll get started. So first of all, a question, and I know you can't all answer back to me, but you know, a question as to what's the most common phrase heard on any hospital ward. Mentioned quite frequently to me. I hear it quite a lot when I visit various hospitals, and it's commented on by staff and patients alike. And The answer to that question, to the most common phrase heard, is who's got the drug keys? You hear it shouted around the various wards, departments, nursing staff shouting who's got the drug keys, and that's primarily because they are sharing that big bunch of keys throughout the ward. They're constantly shouting to find out which one of their colleagues is walking around lopsided like a jailer with a big bunch of keys. So our goal is to take that big bunch of keys you see there on the left, and take all those keys away and give you one intelligent CLIQ Protect 2 key to replace that large bunch of keys. So, how do we do it? Well, first of all, on any particular hospital ward or department, you will have many numerous types of drug cabinet, trolleys, EPMA carts, various wooden style cupboards in the clinical treatment rooms, all having different types of lock on each of those cabinets. And the first thing we need to do is obviously identify what type of cabinets and locks you have on those cabinets on that particular ward department. And the beauty of an Abloy CLIQ system, it's a easy to fit retrofit solution. You do not have to change all your existing cabinets, buy new drug cabinets. We will have a lock within the Abloy CLIQ range that will be directly interchangeable with the lock that's currently on that particular cabinet, cart, trolley. So it's a very simple retrofit solution, involving limited installation time. The thing with an Abloy CLIQ system, because there is no batteries in the lock itself, no wiring required to the lock, it's very easy to deploy, certainly on mobile drug trolleys, because literally there's no power needed to be given to the cabinet or the cart. The power is given by the key, the Abloy CLIQ key that you see in the middle of the picture there. There is a battery in the head of that key, so when that key is inserted into the lock, it then gives the power to the lock. There's an electronic handshake, and then if the key has permission, then it will be allowed to open that particular lock. So that's the initial steps, is identifying the infrastructure, the type of cabinets you have, and identifying the correct lock to retrofit to your cupboards. One example of a particular large hospital, we deployed a CLIQ system into Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, where there was over 1,000 drug cupboards, over 1,000 odd keys deployed. We fitted a CLIQ system across 72 wards and 30 departments into this particular hospital, and as a result, the QE of basically estimated they are saving around 38 hours every shift of nursing time through having this Abloy CLIQ system deployed throughout their trust. So a typical day in the life of a nurse, and how we come to that figure of 38 hours of time saved. At the start of the shift, a nurse will take their CLIQ key and enter it into what we call a wall programming device that you see in the top left hand corner of the screen. These wall program devices are connected to the network and the web hosted environment to which the Abloy CLIQ system works on, and these will be deployed in various points around the hospital, so nurses don't have to walk too far away at the start of their shift to what effectively is validating their key for a time period, typically 12 hours, for their key to work during that shift. Not only by entering the key into the wall PD are you validating your key for that shift period of time, you are also automatically uploading all the audit trail information data that's on the key from the previous shift, from the previous day. So all that information that's held in the key is being uploaded onto the CLIQ Web Manager software system, and that audit trail archive data is stored on the system for you to investigate whenever you feel free to do so. So that's at the start of the shift. So once the nurse has validated their key, then they're allowed to go about their normal daily routines and tasks, open all the various drug cupboards on the ward without having to ask for that big bunch of keys. And more importantly, their key will only be allowed to open the cabinets that they have access to or permissions to. So when you set up a key for individual nurse, you will program the access rights to the cabinets they're allowed to have, and typically you would have maybe 10 or 12 drug cupboards cabinets on a ward, and in most hospitals they program keys by ward. So one particular nurse working on one ward won't be able to go to another ward or department and use their key. It tends to be programmed by ward and by permissions to which cabinets they're allowed to have access to on that ward. So by doing that, it's estimated, and obviously through live data that comes back from the systems, that nurses on average use their keys 50 times a shift. So 50 times in and out of a particular drug cabinet or cart. But more importantly, that's 50 times where they're not having to shout, ask who's got the drug keys, borrow the keys off a colleague. So there's no time wasted every time they're accessing those drug cabinets. Lost keys are also no longer a problem because, as I said, you set up your system so keys work for a period of time, a validation period, and after that period the keys switch off, time out. So if a key is lost or stolen, somebody may think, oh, I know where this key will work. It will no longer be live to open the lock. You would also report the key as lost and stolen, and that would be deleted in the system. So if somebody tried to validate the key in the ward PD, it would be blocked. So keys turn off at the end of the shift, and lost keys are no longer a problem. And we all know what a problem can occur from lost keys. Typically, when keys are lost or stolen in a hospital at the moment, it normally involves the maintenance department getting involved, replacing the mechanical locks, drilling out the locks and replacing new locks and issuing new keys to staff. So that is a costly process in itself. An extreme example, and obviously we're not just talking about drug cabinets here, but locks across the whole estate. Example of a Royal Derby Hospital where a master key fell into the wrong hands, and it cost them a hell of a lot of money to change the locks over. And more importantly, there was a long period of time that went by before they even realised they had an issue or a problem, and this particular person was gaining access without being accountable. And once they did eventually catch up with him, they had to change 1,500 locks over throughout the whole trust in various doors and departments and storerooms and so forth, at a cost of £128,000. Obviously, with a CLIQ system, you don't have that problem because you obviously you've got the audit trail, the accountability, and you can turn off keys and block keys that are lost or stolen. So, as I've said, every time a key goes into a lock or a drug cupboard, that event, that opening is recorded in the lock and the key. And the very fact that you have that audit trail means that ultimately, should you have an investigation that you need to look into, you're saving a lot of time, investigation time, because with the CLIQ Web Manager software and the audit trail archive, you can quickly drill down by cabinet, by key, as to where that key has been during a particular date range or period or time in the day. Where has that key been? What cabinets has it opened? Or if you just have an issue with a particular drug cabinet, CD cabinet, you have a discrepancy, On that particular day, you'll be able to find out who gained access to that cupboard on that day. So a lot of investigation time is saved because you've got that audit trail at hand. And there is a hell of a lot of information and data that's stored in CLIQ Web Manager software. So you've got a lot of information and data at your fingertips. But what you can do then is you can utilize that data and report back on certain aspects and information that's most benefit and use to yourselves, that added value exception reporting. So you can produce customized dashboards from your system of particular information that's valuable to you as a department or a trust. So this particular screen here, we're looking at actual data from a live system that's been anonymised. We haven't got the hospital in question up there, but obviously this is data from a live system. As you can see, millions of recorded events across 163 drug cabinets. But through the visual reporting, you can drill down on particular information you may want to use, like what are your most used keys. You may have everybody having a key, but does everybody particularly need a key? If a key's only been used once or twice within a month, does that particular person need a key? Obviously, those keys that are more frequently used may need a little bit more care or maintenance. Make sure the key's clean, make sure the battery's refreshed or changed on a more frequent basis. But the other thing is the events that you may want to also look at. I mean, we all know, there's lots of approved successful events from, yes, this key is allowed to open that lock. Those are the things you don't necessarily want to look at. It's more the access denied events that may be of interest to you. So these small events down here, whereas somebody has tried to gain access to a drug cabinet that they haven't got permission to have access to. Why has that person tried to gain access? Because that's one of the other beauty of the CLIQ system. It records those access denied events in the lock and key as well. So yeah, you can pull out these reports and then question individuals as to why they've tried to gain access to that particular cabinet they don't have permission to. The other good thing that hospitals tend to use is key left in lock. The black column there that you see. This is of interest because obviously drug cupboards are open, but they shouldn't be left open. So, for example, a CD cupboard. When people go in there, yes, we know they have to go in, take drugs out the cupboard. They have to fill in the drug register. That typically would be maybe a 3 or a 5 minute time period to do that before the cupboard's closed. But you can set the parameter to whatever time you think is an acceptable time, but if it falls outside that parameter, that can be flagged up in the reporting. So why has that key been left in that lock and that drug cabinet been open for more than 5 minutes? So you can tend to enforce good practice within your staff to make sure that all these cupboards are securely locked after they've entered them. So all that reporting is good, useful data that you can get out of the system, and even your most used cabinets. You may have one CD cupboard that's been used twice as many times as another CD cupboard. So that may ask questions: do we need to put a second drug cabinet in that department or ward? It tells you how many events that cupboard openings has received. And you can tailor your maintenance again around that. So any cupboards that maybe say had maybe 25,000 openings, then you may think, well, okay, it's time to maybe give that lock or cupboard a check over, check the cylinder, give it some lubrication, blast of compressed air inside the cylinder just to make sure that it continues to function as it should. And even something outside of the lock itself, because that cupboard has had so many openings. If it's a typical wooden cupboard, the hinges may be wearing or dropping, so certain things need to be checked, not just around the lock itself. So that's useful data again to a trust or a hospital, and you can have that reported in a more visual format, in a more graphical format, like you see below, again showing your most highly used cabinets and those that are not so. So really good data that can be used in a CLIQ system. And as you say, you can drill down quickly by limiting the time period, the type of event you want to investigate, access denied, key left in lock, a particular cupboard, and then once you've selected all those parameters, you will get, like you see on the right hand side, an activity report of all the events that have occurred. So really useful information you can pull out the system. This slide I particularly like as well because excuse me, it's a good return on investment slide that's showing with this particular trust they've invested £75,000 to date in a CLIQ system, but they've recovered through nursing time saved extra 372 days for patient care. So again, this is something that you can fill in the boxes as you see fit as regards the minutes saved per unlocking. So if you think your staff are saving an extra 50 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes every time they need to open a drug cabinet, you put that time period in there. You put down a particularly hourly rate and the amount of shift hours, and then you can quickly get an idea of how much your CLIQ system has returned you in nursing time saved and additional patient time to give the patient. So as you can see, a £75,000 investment has already theoretically, if you want to put pounds and pence on it, has saved you £133,000 of nursing time, or the equivalent of 372 extra days in nursing time for patient care. And as you can see, the return on investment comes over a very short period of time before you potentially got payback on your original investment. One of the things that a CLIQ Abloy Protect 2 CLIQ system does, it's compliant with the UK drug security standards for controlled drug medication. So we all know there's the standards around what type of lock you can fit. Typically those standards to date are focusing on a mechanical lock standard, which will typically say you must have a mechanical lock with so many combinations, 7 levers, pins or differs, and it must throw a bolt of 14 millimeters. So it's around the physical security and the combinations of a mechanical lock system. And CLIQ gives you all of that because primarily CLIQ is still a mechanical cylinder. It's still got mechanical discs and pins within the cylinder itself. It's using mechanical cuts on the key to actually open the lock and throw the bolt, the mechanical locking bolt. So primarily it's still a mechanical system. We've just overlaid it with some additional electronics in the cylinder and the key to give you that extra functionality. So it meets all the Home Office standards. It's recognised by the Care Quality Commission because we do have hospitals that come to us because they want to improve their security around drug management, and it's maybe something that's been flagged up by a CQC inspection. And a lot of hospitals that have deployed a CLIQ system following an inspection have had a better rating, feedback rating from the CQC after deploying such a system. So yes, it meets all those standards, ticks all those boxes. So to summarise, I mean, going clockwise, obviously CLIQ saves time looking for the drugs keys and the key holders, so it's easy to secure access to medication. You're saving all that nurse's time, anything between 10 and 40 minutes. If you take an example of 30 minutes, 12 nurses, 12 hours, you're almost recovering 6 hours of nursing time over 2 shifts. So, a significant amount of time. It saves you time on any investigation of drug discrepancies. It gives you that added security, auditability, accountability, And then obviously all that feeds back into patients receiving medication quicker. More time can be spent caring for patients because that nursing time has been released. It increases that nursing efficiency across the hospital. So it really is a win-win-win situation. You're meeting all the security aspects, you're saving time on your drugs investigation, and patients are getting medication quicker. And also, importantly as well, and this is something that's been reported on many of the installations, is nurses really do love the system. Since we've fitted the system over many trusts, we've had various surveys and feedbacks from the trusts, and there's very little negative feedback from nursing staff because they realise how beneficial it is to them during their normal working day, and it liberates them and frees them up to do all the things they're paid to do, and they really do enjoy having their own personal CLIQ key and a CLIQ locking system on their ward. So to date, I mean, the healthcare team, we've been supplying the CLIQ solution into various hospitals, NHS trusts, over the last 5 to 6 years now, and we've got installations across large hospitals, small community hospitals, private hospitals, even ambulances. London Ambulance, Welsh Ambulance, where all the paramedics have their own CLIQ key to gain access to drugs either in the stations, the ambulance stations, or on the vehicles themselves. So we have over 30,000 CLIQ products installed across many hospitals in the UK and Ireland. There's plenty of positive feedback and customers experiencing the benefits of CLIQ across the UK. And the journey for us doesn't stop there as well, because we understand the way the NHS is moving and the digitalisation in the NHS, and we know that CLIQ needs to keep delivering more, and we keep developing the system with added features and benefits. We know people want integration with various other systems like maybe staff rostering and allocate type of things. We're looking at doing a particular app for replacing a paper drug register with an electronic one. We're constantly working in the background to make sure that CLIQ is a system to invest in, not only for now, but will give you future investments over a long period of time as the system and the features and benefits and bolt-ons get developed. One such example is that currently we're working on an electronic drug register app. Primarily at the moment this is with the ambulances, because their paramedics are all issued now, or a couple of the ambulance services have all of their paramedics with iPads, and those ambulance trusts with paramedics with their own iPads and their own CLIQ key, that we're looking at developing an app so when they do access a particular drug cabinet on the vehicle or in the station, then it's paired with an application on their iPad where they have to open a ticket, an electronic ticket, and basically state what they're taking out, and at the end of the shift they have to either return those drugs, identified that they've dispensed drugs to patients, or have had to destroy drugs. So they open a ticket up at the start of the day and they have to close the ticket off, and everything has to balance up before they can close that electronic ticket. So that's just an example of a development that's coming pretty shortly down the line with CLIQ as an added solution. We also understand the way the NHS is moving, and obviously the future requirements around track and trace. We know obviously at some point there may be need to have QR coding on cabinets, so you'd have to physically scan cupboards before you open them, or barcoding on drugs. So we know the way things are moving, and we're obviously constantly improving and developing the CLIQ software and applications around that. So it can integrate with various other things that are happening within a hospital setting. So So yeah, we are trying to future build the system going forward as well. So there's many good things coming down the line that we're all quite excited about on Abloy CLIQ. So with that, I hope you found that very informative today. Again, thank you for attending and listening, and please feel free to keep feeding your questions through on the live chat to the team. We hopefully answer all of those for you. And should you want to have further one-to-one conversations with myself or any members of my team around how you could potentially look at deploying a CLIQ system in your trust hospital, then please feel free to contact us. And again, thank you very much for listening.